Demand, noun. 1. Countable. Demand for something that. A very firm request for something. Something that somebody needs. A demand for higher pay. Demands that the law on gun ownership should be changed. Firms attempting to satisfy their customers' demands, to give them what they are asking for. 2. Demands, plural. Demand of something. Demand on somebody. Things that something makes you do, especially things that are difficult, makes you tired, worried, etc. The demands of children. Work. Flying makes enormous demands on pilots. She shouldn't always give in to his demands. 3. Uncountable, countable. Demand for something, somebody. The desire or need of customers for goods or services which they want to buy or use. To meet the demand for a product. There's an increased demand for organic produce these days. Demand is exceeding supply. See related entries. Economy. Extra examples. A ransom demand has been made for the kidnapped racehorse. As demand slows, the need to export will return. Campaigners have stepped up their demands for immediate government action. Campaigners insist that abortion should be available on demand. Demand for personal computers has risen sharply. Demand for the product is buoyant. Demands have been made for the immediate distribution of food to the refugees. How do they cope with the conflicting demands of work and family life? I think the demands of this job are excessive. I think your demand for a higher salary is perfectly reasonable. In the housing market, demand is outstripping supply. It can be difficult to forecast demand in the construction industry. It is the job of the marketing manager to create demand for the new product. Juggling the daily demands of career and family is rewarding, but never easy. Life is hard for nurses on children's wards, where the emotional demands can be overwhelming. Low interest rates are fueling demand for credit. My elderly parents make a lot of demands on me. My government cannot give in to the demands of an illegal organization. My work seems to make more and more demands on my time. She is in constant demand to make public appearances and give interviews. Supply normally exceeds demand for the bulk of consumer goods. Teacher training has to evolve to meet the changing demands of the profession. The emotional demands of the job can be overwhelming. The factories are staying open all weekend to try to meet the consumer demand for this product. The factories are staying open to meet the consumer demand for this product. The management had no intention of meeting union demands. The person who cannot say no to others' requests is likely to be overwhelmed by external demands. The reporter refused their demand that he reveal his sources. The slowdown in domestic demand was offset by an increase in exports. There have been new demands for the government to take action to reduce crime. There's always a great demand for our soups in winter. These old machines are still in demand. This section of the population makes a high demand on healthcare resources. We can estimate that total market demand for electrical goods will rise by 8%. We must prepare children to respond to the demands of work. A high level of demand. Coping with the conflicting demands of work and family life. Demands from the opposition for a recount of the votes. Increased demand for health products. Policies aimed at managing demand. The day-to-day demands of the job. The demand from consumers. The law of supply and demand. The need for scientific research freed from the immediate demands of industry. The potential demand among children. Every now and then, there are demands that the law on gun ownership should be changed. Our firm is constantly striving to safety customers' demands. Their demand for higher pay was ignored. There's an increased demand for organic produce these days. We are struggling to meet the demand for the product.